behind this? Pal?
I gave you all boundless knowledge, and you treated me like this. Poke, poke, swipe, poke, pinch, zoom.
We're the last people left. It's up to us to save the world.
Katie, we're gonna do this together.
Mitchell family on 3.
No.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Dude, I'm all in. I don't even know what this is. Let's just go. Go, 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 go!
Welcome to Cordkillers, the show about watching the stuff you love when you want, where you want, however you want. I'm Tom Merritt.
Hey, I'm Brian Brushwood, and most importantly, what was that, Bryce? It looked awesome.
Didn't it? That is a trailer for The Mitchells versus the Machines. That's coming to Netflix April 30th. It's directed by Michael Rianda of Gravity Falls, produced by Lord and Miller of a million great things, including the Lego Movie. It is about...
Lord and Miller did the Spider-Man movie too, right?
Right. Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And the awesome 21 Jump Street. It's about a dysfunctional family who are the last hope for humanity after a robot uprising. So all the smart devices come to life, and this family that doesn't always kind of color within the lines has to work together to save the humans.
This feels like I get to carry a secret in my back pocket, similar to the next Taika Waititi movie. Even though my kids can't seem to remember the name Taika Waititi, I just know that it's code for y'all's gonna love this.
Your kids will love this.
Yes,
a
exactly.
lot. So that is coming to Netflix April 30th. It's a film.
The only thing my kids will love more.
They got BTS to do the backing track. They used Mic Drop in the trailer. Is that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
guess.
that is BTS's Mic Drop in the trailer for the Mitchells. Is that what your kids will love more, Brian?
Yes. Sure.
Big.
Oh, okay. Thanks
BTS
everybody for
stands.
watching. That's our show.
Hey, Iyaz, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing spectacular. I'm really glad to be in the middle of this cluster of a start. I feel like I'm part of the family again. I mean, I don't know. We're ill prepared to do
I was
what,
going for the no, Tom. Even bigger than BTS is Iyaz Akhtar, but it just didn't pan out. I apologize.
Yeah, maybe a different BTS. I think that's behind the scenes.
I mean, the problem is I didn't want to embarrass you guys, but I know so many different BTSs. I didn't know which one you were talking about. So I just moved to Iyaz Akhtar.
As you should. Welcome, Iyaz Akhtar. It's good to have you back.
Thank you. I've officially changed my name. I've dropped the space between it. It's just Iyaz Akhtar now. That's it.
Iyaz
Akhtar.
There we go. Zakhtar. That's me.
Yeah,
Zakhtar!
which is not a palindrome.
Not yet.
No. All right, let's move on to the press target.
It's going great. We're doing great, everybody.
Listen, this whole thing was done to make Godzilla versus Kong look better. Godzilla versus Kong racked up $285.4 million worldwide. That's almost a normal number, right?
I'm so glad you said the N-word. Yeah, it is almost normal. And it's really weird that it's like we're almost back to the before 4 times.
Now, this is after 2 weekends opening internationally. It opened a weekend earlier than the U.S. internationally. It's the fastest movie to 200 million since March 2020, doing in 12 days what Tenet took 24 to achieve. And in the U.S., where it's been out for 5 days now, it made 48.5 million. It was also available on HBO Max. Also, there's a pandemic and still made 48.5 million in the first 5 days. Not bad. A lot of people are very encouraged by that number. 55% of U.S. theaters are open. So it's not even, it's barely a majority. It's not even, the whole country is open for theaters. Theater goers for the movies were 64% male, 52% younger than 25. Samba TV reports, if you're like, wait, how did it do on HBO Max? 3.6 million households watched at least 5 minutes of Godzilla vs. Kong between March 31st and April 4th. That beats Wonder Woman 1984 and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Warner did not give exact numbers for the streaming, but Warner Media Direct-to-Consumer EVP and General Manager Andy Forssell did confirm that the movie, quote, had a larger viewing audience than any other film or show on HBO Max since launch. He also said they are watching it more than once. He didn't say how often, but apparently some people are watching it more than once. The next test for Warner will be Mortal Kombat, debuting in international markets next weekend, coming to the US and HBO Max on April 23rd. So, big numbers at the box office, both worldwide and in the US, big numbers on streaming. What, if anything, does this tell us about theaters and streaming and the whole debate about day and date releases and the pandemic stopping people from ever wanting to go to theater again and all that stuff, Brian?
I have a theory, but I would love to hear Iyaz's take first, because it's a sad theory. I have a sad theory.
Okay, so his theory is sad. Mine's not so sad. I'm thinking because this movie is such a giant event style movie, you've got these massive monsters going through a battle. It's one thing to watch it at home, but it actually could get people to go to theaters again, because if you got a talking head movie, it's not as exciting. You could watch that on anything, even your phone, but getting to a theater, that would work. When it comes to narrowing the window, I think for certain big ticket items like Godzilla vs. Kong, or like the MCU movies that require a giant story to be told, something like an Endgame or the Avengers movies, that'll still draw. But when you have a smaller film and it's more of a thinking piece, I think that's still going to keep people at home more so than going out.
Let me reverse everything I've ever said about everything that I've ever wanted in the 12-year history of this show. I am now realizing that there is a significant downside to day and date releases, especially of the HBO Max variety, where they, you already have them. You're not paying for anything or whatever. Storytelling. If, Tom, when you write a novel, you have a reasonable expectation that somebody paid money for the novel, and that if they begin the novel, they will end the novel, and they won't just get up and walk away and really intend to get back to it. So as a result, there's a certain type of story you can tell. When I make a YouTube video on the Mono Rogue or on Scam Nation, I know that I will lose 50% of all my viewers in the first 30 seconds. So I have to tell a different type of story. If there will ever be an explosion over the course of an episode, it has to go right up front. And now we're doing storytelling as bull riding. I have never, up until this moment, considered if the YouTube storytelling as bull riding dynamic could negatively affect Hollywood movies until now. And I don't know how I feel about it.
So you're reacting, I think, to the fact that I clarified that it was at least 5 minutes, right?
Exactly. Like that was a phrase that I think maybe once or twice before we had used, because you have to mark it as a view at some point or whatever. But then all of a sudden, like, if that's the boundary, well, then just make sure your first 5 minutes are good, and who cares if you watch the rest? And
here's the key why that doesn't matter. I think maybe this will help you feel a little better.
Okay.
The 5 minutes, I almost wish I hadn't put it in there, because all it means is, like, when I say 3.6 million households, a bunch of people in the chat room are going to go, well, if I just turn it on and watch, the opening WB, does that count? It's like, no, you have to watch at least 5 minutes, right? We want to get, like, you sat down and you started actually watching it. HBO Max is not going to consider it a success internally. And remember, these are not HBO Max's numbers. These are Samba TV's numbers. They're not going to consider it a success internally if most of those people watched 5 minutes and stopped. They're only going to consider it a success if it keeps people subscribed. And so I say that which might make you feel better, which is they don't care one way or another if they lost them in the first 5 minutes. What they care about is, were they excited enough to watch this that they're like, oh yeah, I got to keep HBO Max because the next movie coming is Dune or Mortal Kombat or something like that.
It's a marginal improvement, and I'll tee this up for Iyaz, but what I fear is whether it's so that you can hit the 5 minute mark so that you can claim so many views, or if you want to hit the 5 minute mark so that you can keep the subscribers. In either case, you're not hitting the 5 minute mark because it's a really good 2.5 hour movie. And all of that concerns me.
And thinking of your idea of, like, what is the audience expecting, and the luxury of being essentially, like, stuck in a movie theater. When you go to a movie in a theater, you're deciding I'm going to be in here for a set number of minutes or
Right.
hours or whatever. When it comes to the on-demand stuff like you're talking about, yeah, you can skip around or just say, are they going to hook you in the first 5 minutes? But I think that's essentially the role of the trailer that we're still using right now. The trailers are the thing that get you to commit to the 2 hours, maybe even an hour, because that's the 2 minutes. Every single thing is exciting. Every 5 seconds, we're getting an explosion. And you're like, when is this going to happen in the movie? So you might sit there. In the case of Godzilla versus Kong, for the subject matter, they actually moved at a really tight pace, considering it's two monsters fighting each other and the story is somewhat ridiculous. So I think that maybe I fear for the idea of what Brian's talking about. That they got to really keep you there in the first couple minutes. But like if you've already chosen to hit play, that might be enough. It's not like it's a linear channel, right? You're actually hitting it on demand, so you're choosing to watch it. I think that makes a slight difference.
And we're talking about two different ecosystems, right? On YouTube, it's I have a million other things that I'm competing for eyeballs with. It's free to change. I need to keep people watching mine because that's live or die my metrics. And you know that very well. HBO Max is not in that situation. Samba TV is using 5 minutes because they just have to use something.
Right.
HBO Max is not using that as their metric for success. HBO Max is using entirely different things as their metric for success. So what HBO Max is looking at is, I actually don't care if they stopped after 5 minutes and switched to something else, as long as they kept watching something else. And I think completion, we know this from Netflix, but I'm going to guess it's true for HBO Max. Completion is more important than did I keep them for 5 minutes? It's more, I don't think they're operating on the YouTube mentality of like, oh my gosh, they could switch away to something else at any moment. Because in HBO Max, if they switch away to something else, you're switching away to something else within HBO Max, right? I just think there's a different mindset there.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
not
suppose
too concerned about it.
What you're experiencing is my mind being blown by the idea of like, there's a thing we've been praying for 10 years, and now we have it. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, is this a monkey's paw? Is this going to change? And we've seen various flavors of it in the form of, Quibi and other shows. But man,
where I think you're onto something, and it's less about the 5 minutes, is when I'm watching at home, I can pause, I can stop, I can not finish, I can get up, I can walk away. And what effect does that have? Or does it? On movies, or are movies still made for complete viewing because that's what makes them get good reviews and get recommended? And most people on these streaming services are watching a mixture of movies and TV shows, and maybe it doesn't matter, maybe it does. I don't know.
Yep. And I don't know. I guess I don't know. Just spidey sense tingling. That's really all I have.
The one thing I want to add here is we sort of skipped past you skipped to a really interesting topic, but we skipped past the main story here, which is $48.5 million. Hey, that's not bad. And 3.6 million households. Hey, that's not bad. Shouldn't this be good news? And it depends on where you read. I see some folks criticizing, saying, "Oh, you made 48.5 million. If you hadn't done HBO Max day and date, you would have made more."
Yeah, I don't.
That sort of criticism.
Yeah, I think right now, we do have maybe one of the most fascinating horse races in the history of this show, where you have like really substantially different strategies being played out, and everybody's committed to them for at least the next year. We'll see if everybody flips the table later on, but for now, I'm not gonna speculate about what might have been.
Well, Iyaz, I don't know where you fall in this, but personally. Yeah. HBO wanted to get subscribers. It's not about, individual ticket receipts. They make money off people signing up for HBO Max to watch Godzilla versus Kong and then staying as a subscriber for years.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm thinking about HBO Max, almost the way I was thinking about like movie passes or AMC stubs, I think that segment of people that were using Max to watch this, or they signed up for Max for this, they're going to watch things that they might not have watched just because they're already paying for the subscription because they want to watch all of Big Bang Theory, or they want all of Friends, all this other stuff. So they get this little bonus feature. If they weren't exactly interested in the film, they might watch it anyway. Same kind of thing with back in the old days. If I had stubs and I kind of had this slight interest in a movie, I'm more likely to go and see it because it essentially costs less to watch more movies per month. So we would do that all the time. So I don't think this is good or bad. I don't know if it's a make or break case for like, should day and date always happen or it should never happen. I don't know if all these people would have watched the film in with all things being equal.
Yeah. And Warner's not going to do day and date in 2022. That's only for this year. And I already see a lot of theatrical industry people pointing out that thing of, oh, they could have made even more. And it's like, well, it's not exactly apples and oranges. I think Warner wins either way with this because you will get some people sign up for these movies. I think this is good news, and it shows people will still go to the theaters even if they have another option. Even if they have another cheaper option, that will not infect them with a virus, possibly, like they will still go to the theaters.
Today on the news, I heard that 3 million Americans were vaccinated, and I'm going to assume that number keeps on going every single day.
Yeah, we're somewhere around 25% of the U.S. is
right,
vaccinated.
and keep in mind, not everybody goes out, but those who do want to go out are going to be the ones who are most likely to get vaccinated. I mean, like by the end, 1 month from now, we're going to be in a really different place.
Yeah, and when you're in that different place, and you realize, like, man, I've got money to spend on whatever I want. Give us some.
Well, convince me.
Because you need it because it's our show.
Because I need it?
Yeah, I mean, you're a co-host of the shows. Don't you want them to give you money?
Well, I mean, no. I know I want the money. I want you to convince them. Normally, I'm the one that convinces them. Convince them.
Yeah. Oh, right.
No, you got it.
We need it to do the show. That's still the good. Look, if you like the show and you get value from the show,
yes.
All we ask is you give a little value back. That's all. We are able to do the show because enough people support us, and the more people that support us, the better the show gets. It's like believing in fairies, except instead of believing in fairies, you give us $1 and then you get this amazing show plus some other bonus stuff.
Yeah. Unlike fairies, this show is real. So head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers. Give us $1 an episode. Keep us loud, live, and independent. Let us continue to educate you in the ways of watching what you want, when you want, on whatever device you please.
Let's talk about how to watch. Bloomberg sources say NBCUniversal is considering pulling movies from HBO Max and Netflix, and they debuting new film releases on Peacock. Right now, some of the Universal stuff goes to Netflix, some goes to HBO Max, some goes to Peacock. Current deals have Universal Pictures movies available on HBO Max about 9 months after the theatrical window is open. Animated movies from Illumination Entertainment go to Netflix. But all those deals expire at the end of 2021, and I guess they're trying to figure out what they want to do. I mean, Brian, is there a reason why NBC should not just bring them to Peacock?
The answer is more statistical or gambling motivated, where it's like we're so early in the space. I feel like making a move, any kind of move, like how. Think back to 4 months ago, we were cheering HBO Max for day and date releases. And then last month, we were suddenly like, ooh, too bad HBO Max locked themselves into day and date releases. Whereas meanwhile, Disney Plus has the best of both worlds. They get to charge $30 when they want, or do a theatrical release, or do whatever they want. So I would say that in a world where options matter, I would say the best reason to not do literally anything is to gather data and be ready to pounce on whatever that means. Iyaz?
Yeah, so I think this really depends on the numbers on this kind of situation. I would think that a non-exclusive deal would probably be best for NBCUniversal for their monster movies or anything else like that. Because if you move all of their content off of HBO Max and off of Netflix, essentially you're cutting out your distribution, so people aren't going to be able to see your stuff as well. So I think what they might want to do is something I've seen Paramount do, where they actually have their content on multiple networks, and that way they can make a lot of money. But if they put everything, all their eggs in one basket, that's a pretty bold move, and the question is whether that's going to pay off. It's a lot of content, but people might just forget that Universal Monster Universe exists, or the Dark Universe. Well, that didn't happen, but a bunch of those different things exist because it's on Peacock, something they're not familiar with. I think they're better served by being on many distribution platforms.
Yeah. I mean, look at it this way, folks. Peacock or NBC Universal is choosing between a sure thing, cash on the barrelhead. If I sign a deal with Netflix, I'm going to get that money. I'm going to make my movies and I'm going to get that money. That's guaranteed cash. And it's good cash. Same with HBO Max. Versus the gamble that Brian's talking about, where it's like, more I could keep them on Peacock. And then if it's the only place people can get Peacock, they're more likely to use Peacock. I make more money off the ad revenue of the free version. I make more money off the dollars of the paid versions. And maybe I end up making more money in the long run. So it's trying to balance those. And I think I'm with you at this stage with Peacock's slower, not bad, but slower growth. Non-exclusive deals feel like a good striking the middle ground, saying, okay, it may not be as much if it's not exclusive, but at least we guarantee some money. And people who come into Peacock for other reasons, we got plenty of other reasons like the Olympics and Friends and whatever. People who come in, or I guess it's not Friends, it's The Office. The Office for Peacock come in, then they'll stick around because they'll see that movie is on there. It won't draw them in because it's not exclusive, but they'll stick around like, oh, there's lots of good stuff here. And then we can see that. And then it goes back to what you were saying, Brian, where we gather the data and see what kinds of things really work and what kinds of things might be worth making exclusive in the future.
There's also, like, by being a late entry to the race, Peacock really only has a few more months to distinguish themselves as being an exclusive place for anything, literally anything at all. In a world where Crunchyroll has a decade-long head start over them, like, I don't know. Yeah,
there's a lot of room to experiment, which is probably why they're having these conversations and trying to figure out.
They could also use that money to fund Peacock exclusives. Like, if they're going to guarantee the money, like, what else could they do with it? Maybe other series, other specials, other live shows, because they do have that streaming capability already with live. Because Netflix doesn't do live and HBO Max doesn't do live. If you want to do live, you actually have Peacock. So maybe they can somehow leverage that money into the future of Peacock, not necessarily throwing away their future by just hoarding and going, oh, did you remember what Despicable Me is? Like, who cares? Nobody cares what it is. Like, that's kind of important for NBC Universal.
Yeah, it's some kind of tiered solution. Probably is what I guess they'll end up going with. They'll maybe make a few things exclusive, multi-license some other stuff. I doubt they'll let anything go exclusive to other platforms, though. That would surprise me. All right, let's talk about what to watch in Under Surveillance.
It's all about location. Under Surveillance.
Trailers. We have so many trailers. A trailer is out for the Disney Plus Loki series. Showing you a lot more about Owen Wilson's role, signing Loki up to fix the timeline. And that is coming to Disney Plus on June 11th.
Look, I don't normally dive into trailers, but you asked me to, so I did. And like, can I personally request that you not ask me to watch any more Loki trailers, because I'm already all in and I'm just desperately afraid that any more
you can decline to watch more Loki trailers.
Okay.
Tell the audience,
because right, as I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, it's everything that I wanted this to be. Oh, it looks like it's going to do it. I hope I don't have to watch anymore.
I'm just cautious. I'm cautiously optimistic. I want to keep my expectations low and enjoy the show as it comes out.
I got way more of a WandaVision vibe out of this trailer than I ever did on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where they have a lot more room to tell the story, a lot more threads they can pull, and surprises they can launch on us. We already know we're getting some cameos. So I imagine there'll be surprise cameos and all that sort of thing. Rick and Morty dropped a season 5 trailer for the return of the show on June 20th to Adult Swim. If you're hoping for more of the same, that seems to be what the trailer promises. At least that's what I got out of it.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I tried to watch it just to watch it, but man, you develop that clickbait vision where it's just like later on, like after watching it, I'm like, that was a fine trailer, and then later I see a headline that says, Rick and Morty trailer confirms that a fan favorite is back. And it's like, I can't resist. What is this? And it's like, they're going to do interdimensional cable again. It's like, they do it every year. Why did I click on that?
Fan favorite is back. Rick.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. I don't know.
Rick and Morty fan, Iyaz? Yes, no, maybe?
I tried to watch it, and then I'm like, I can't watch this with my kids, so I couldn't really start.
Yeah. Okay.
That was
Yeah,
the thing. I
stumbling
really
block.
wanted to watch. I was like, no, can't.
A new trailer is out for the Black Widow movie with a date of July 9th emblazoned right there at the end, right in front of the in theaters and on Disney Plus premiere message. While the movie kicks off the fourth phase of the MCU, it is set after the events of 2016's Captain America Civil War. I don't think there was much in here that, revealed more of the story to me. To me, this was more about them sticking to that July 9th date now that they're going to make it available on Disney Plus.
Yeah. My most charitable interpretation is that they're holding back on any details because there's good stuff in there and they understand that they don't need to. They don't need to give us nothing. In which case, I hope that's why where we're at, because otherwise,
half the stuff in this trailer was from Endgame or Civil War or other stuff,
which is pretty bold. But then again, we've gotten a lot of deep, juicy details from the last couple of original TV shows on Disney Plus.
And we had this is the fifth or sixth Black Widow trailer. There have been so many trailers.
Yeah. Well, that's partly because they thought it was going to come out last year, I think.
Bryce is like, he knows what a race car in the red I am. And he's just like, just a little poke. Yes. I'm ready for this to be out.
Iyaz?
Same here. I've been I think this is actually going to get my $30. I don't think I'm going to leave the house for it, but Disney Premier Access is going to get me over a barrel this time. So congrats, Disney.
Well, and then you can watch this with your child, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And your wife. So now it's split three ways.
I can watch with all of them, or I can vary them up. I mean, the possibilities are not endless. They're very simple.
You're going to make
there are
money
six.
watching
there are
it at
six
home.
configurations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A 1991 Russian made-for-TV version of Lord of the Rings has been posted to YouTube, and it's getting quite a bit of attention. It was created in the waning days of the Soviet Union for Leningrad Television. That was back when St. Petersburg was Leningrad still. Leningrad Television's successor, 5 TV, posted the film to YouTube last week. It is glorious. It's amazing.
So
it kind of looks like part BBC 1970s, part PBS, part Soviet something.
So the curious Cordkillers-y angle of this feels to me like so this is not a bootleg uploaded from a VHS copy of something. This is the sanctioned copyright owner putting this out.
5 TV finally found it in the vault somewhere, and people have been, passing stories around on the internet about it. And instead of just ignoring that, they're like, "Oh, let's put it up on our YouTube channel. We'll get some minutes."
So crazy.
That's Lord of the Rings. You're still not going to get me to watch it. I'm sorry.
I think you should only watch this version
instead
and tell
of the other
people
one.
you've seen
That's
Lord
exactly
of the Rings.
what I was gonna say.
You guys are evil.
Yeah. Have you seen Lord of the Rings? Oh yeah. No, it was weird. It was 2 parts, 2 hours long, all in Russian.
A lot of
Really
dancing.
odd, but
Yep.
yeah. And while Starz has canceled Neil Gaiman's American Gods after season 3, Fremantle Media said it is exploring all options to continue to tell this magnificent story. And Neil Gaiman himself tweeted, "It's definitely not dead." Of course, the usual Netflix and Amazon rumors are in the mix. Amazon makes a lot of sense because they're making Sandman with Gaiman and were the host of American Gods outside the U.S. There's also talk of maybe either new seasons or possibly an event series or even just a movie to finish off the story.
Event series smells a little bit like a bunch of 10-minute YouTube videos, but a movie I think would be just fine.
No, event series would mean instead of a full season, they do like 4 or 5 episodes maybe or something like that.
Yeah, like a mini series, I guess.
Yeah.
As long as the story's told in an efficient way, I think that's the key. I hate when shows they keep trying to drag stuff out for more and more seasons. Let's get a tight story.
Oh yeah, this is the opposite
count.
problem. They have no more seasons right now,
Yeah.
and the story is not done being told. So I don't know. I stopped watching it. So I don't have a dog in this fight.
Me too. You know why? Because they felt like they were really dragging. And so I just sort of floated away, having read the book.
Few other notes here. Speaking of something else that I stopped watching, season 11 of Walking Dead will premiere on AMC August 22nd. That will be its last season. They're finally ending Walking Dead, the main series. They got plenty of spinoffs planned. Don't worry about that. Theaters showed a new trailer for Suicide Squad. If you went to the theater to see Godzilla vs. Kong, this is not a Red Band trailer. You could also watch it online, but the first one they released that we talked about last week was Red Band. DC Films says it is no longer developing Ava DuVernay's New Gods movie or the Aquaman spinoff, The Trench. Those are off. They're shelved. 2 sequels to Knives Out with Rian Johnson directing and starring Daniel Craig will come to Netflix. So if you're looking for more Knives Out, that's coming on Netflix. Shadow and Bone got a new trailer. The 8-part series is based on Lee Bardugo's Grishaverse novels, coming to Netflix April 23rd. Production on season 2 of Picard has begun. It will premiere on Paramount Plus sometime in 2022, and they announced John Delancey will return as Q. Star Trek Lower Decks season 2 has a teaser out that will return to Paramount Plus August 12th, and Viacom CBS has also given it a 3rd season. And a new trailer for Star Wars The Bad Batch is out, taking place immediately after Revenge of the Sith, featuring appearances by Ming-Na Wen as Fennec, the character she played in The Mandalorian, and Andrew Kashino as Saw Gerrera. The series spinoff of The Clone Wars arrives on Disney Plus May the 4th. Be with you.
Was I the only one that felt like Knives Out was, it was quaint and wonderful. I liked the style, the setup, the structure, but it almost felt weird that it was in movie theaters. It felt like it belonged on my mom's television. And in that regard, like I really
think intentionally so. I think it was trying to be an homage to that Angela Lansbury Murder, She Wrote kind of genre. I think you're right.
So in that regard, like I'm super pumped that they'll go straight to Netflix, because I think that's where it meant to be the entire time.
But Netflix apparently reportedly paid $450 million for these 2 movies. I don't know how that's possible.
Netflix got a bunch of cash. That's how it's possible.
I didn't mean literally. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
You see, money is a fungible resource that can be exchanged for goods and services. That's what's, like grab a pen. No, it's fine.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a non-fungible token in this case. It's actually fungible. No, I know what you mean. That's a lot of money. They have to believe that these movies are really going to keep people as subscribers or possibly bring in new subscribers. I bet it's a little of both. I bet Brian's right that there's a lot of people who I saw Knives Out and thought, cute story, really enjoyed it, and was not expecting to ever see another mystery in that universe. But I bet some people were.
Also, after watching Knives Out, the more articles I read, the more details I found out that I missed. So I suppose he might be creating a universe where it rewards multiple watches. For example, it's minor spoiler for Knives Out. There's this this big tableau with a bunch of knives pointed in, and at first every interview comes at an oblique angle, and it gets farther and farther and farther. And the only scene you see somebody flat on straight to camera with all the knives pointing at him is when Daniel Craig reveals who he thinks the bad guy is. So that's, I don't know. I think there's something there.
Yeah, there's some fun stuff in there. Also excited about Lower Decks coming back. Glad they have a date. Glad they have a 3rd season. Nothing but good things to say about Lower Decks.
It's great. It's a great show. It's better than it has to be. It's so good.
All right, let's talk about what we've had our eyes on. Iyaz Akhtar, what have you been watching?
Well, I've been in an infinite loop of Frasier for the past year or so. Basically, this is my comfort show. I watch it all the time. It's on Hulu. It's on Paramount Plus. It's on my local server at home. So I can watch it on shuffle. So I watch this thing. Basically, it's like an old blanket. I know exactly what's going to happen. It's silly. I have noticed more and more strange things about it. The rewatchability is really great. And also the oddity of watching a show that explains everything, because at the time, there isn't a way to get home versions of the show. So they repeat so much exposition in the first season so often. Like, why are you here? Oh, I happen to be your father's helper. It's like, oh, this is weird. It's kind of like a throwback. So that's my current show forever and ever and ever. In Frasier We Trust.
I love that you're not doing a rewatch beginning to end. You just are watching it like a fungible resource.
We've watched the series through and through, I think at least 2 or 3 times. And now it's just like, whatever the heck shows up is fine.
Yeah. because we often speculate if there's people who actually do that with shows, right? You know, Brian, we talked about that before. So now we can say one of our best friends does.
Yes.
I wish they would add a shuffle feature like on Hulu. I totally would do that for Seinfeld. Just shuffle Seinfeld. For me. I'm fine.
You're gonna get me too aroused. Stop talking that way. Meanwhile, hey Tom, I've been watching Flight of the Conchords, getting my daughter introduced to it. I started all the way back on the original HBO comedy short. Man, I want to say that's 2007, 2008. But and then the season 1, season 2, it's so wild. The level of talent that you see. You know, we've talked about what fans we are of Rhys Darby. You know, whether he's showing up on Voltron or the new Taika Waititi pirate movie. Of course, we've seen Jermaine Clement in Legion. Brett has won like multiple Oscars and all that stuff. Mel has gone on to voice all of the most interesting characters on all animated anythings. It's so wild to see how well the comedy holds up and yet how poor the production is. I'm not sure, but I think the entire series might have been shot in 720p. Also, nobody's wearing lav mics because I can hear all of the room tone. I can hear the different takes of the different AC sounds in the background. When people do green screens, they've got terrible keying, they've got green halos around them. And I'm just like, it's so fascinating because I watched this before we ever produced a dang thing, before Scam School even started. And to see it through these new eyes and to see how good it is, and yet also how affordably it was produced is a remarkable experience.
I don't want to give them too much credit, but some of it was intentional. Some of it was meant to be like, yes, cheesy. This is a low budget universe, right? That you're living in. I don't know how much of that is intentional, how much is it, but I know that was part of it. Is like, you know, here's just two poor Kiwis trying to make it in New York was part of the aesthetic, right?
Yeah. They could have keyed the green screen right. They could have used lav mics. I don't know.
Well, something that did not have bad green screen was Godzilla versus Kong. I feel like we have to acknowledge it. So that's going to be my eyes on pick. It was on HBO Max, as we mentioned earlier. I watched it. It was fine. I certainly enjoyed monsters having fights. Not gonna lie, I did start to wonder how much time was left in it, but it mostly moved along. I enjoyed it. I might have enjoyed it more if I'd gone to a theater though, where I was locked in and surrounded by it.
Did they come up with a reason to make Kong bigger or Godzilla smaller or something?
I didn't notice.
Yeah,
if they did.
No, the Kong thing was already established in Kong Skull Island. They just made him gigantic in that. I think it's
the
30
Kong
years later. So he's
got it.
Yeah,
okay.
he's already grown up.
That's
so
right.
Yeah. So they've already reestablished the sizes because why the heck not?
Yeah.
Yeah, they show him on Skull Island at the very beginning. So they're saying, hey, if you saw that movie, this is where he's coming from. It's that Kong. So yeah. I don't know. It's fine. You didn't watch it, huh, Brian?
Nope.
You haven't watched 5 minutes of it yet?
Nope.
How about 4 minutes?
Yes.
Nope.
I've watched the whole movie. I thought it was silly.
You watched all of it? Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
right.
It was silly and I enjoyed it. And again, like I said, with the topic matter, for what it is, they're like, okay, we're going to say some crazy exposition every 5 minutes because this makes no sense. And we're just going to pretend like this is normal. This is completely normal. This is happening because X, Y, and Z. Like everyone should know this. I don't want to give any spoilers, but there's just so much ridiculous technobabble to make things work. But that's not why you're watching Godzilla vs. Kong. If you're watching Godzilla vs. Kong for like true, awesome science fiction, something's wrong with you.
I ask, separate question.
Yes.
Are you watching Invincible?
I have not yet watched Invincible.
That explains why you were watching Kong versus whoever.
I don't know, man. I watched both.
Well, Invincible again was another family pick, so it's Invincible. I believe
it's not an either or.
Some...
You can watch them all.
Don't
be
Actually,
shaming
I think
people.
it kind of is an either or. Take it from me, a guy who tried to show his family Invincible and regretted it very much at the end of the first episode.
All right, Bryce, what should we be on the lookout for?
Hey, we got an email from Lon who writes, "Hey killers, I just finished a delightful 2013 Sherlock Holmes series on Amazon Prime. It puts little twists on all of the Holmes tropes. For example, Sherlock doesn't so much play the violin as use it to focus his attention. The star of the show is Watson, portrayed as a retired but still badass soldier by the amazing Andre Panin. The sets and costumes of a dirty and grimy London are beautiful. The thrilling bits are thrilling. The funny bits are dryly funny. This is a Russian perspective on everything English, which provides a nice bit of spice. It is subtitled, not dubbed, and the subs aren't always very readable, but that's about my only complaint. We'll definitely watch again to see what clever bits I missed." Thanks for this, Lon. This is cool. Yeah, it's an 8-episode Russian adaptation of the Sherlock Holmes story, and in America, it is on Amazon Prime. If you are not in America, you should check out Just Watch or something else. This is the 2013 series. It's just called Sherlock Holmes, so you kind of have to make sure you get the right year, because it turns out they've made a lot of things called Sherlock Holmes. If you got something we should be on the lookout for, you should email us, cordkillers@gmail.com.
Yeah, if you do watch the Soviet-era Lord of the Rings, you might want to watch Sherlock to see what modern Russian television looooks like.
There is
All
something.
right,
Sherlock Holmes is kind of going through a renaissance, because I guess it's so far in the past that everybody can remake it in a billion different ways.
Well, almost. That's a very loaded. There's
dicey,
a big asterisk on
right,
that.
Exactly. But man, I would love if Star Wars had gotten that treatment. Well, okay, I'll back away slowly.
Okay. Cordkillers@gmail.com if you got one.
So, Brian, what won't you back away slowly from?
Fear of going outside.
Going outside? Tell me more.
Oh, well, I don't know if you know this, Tom, but a lot of people, they're getting a little thing. They don't have a word for it yet, but I've invented this word. It's called a vaccine. And what it does is it makes you impervious to certain viruses, give or take, within a percentage.
I mean, I heard there's a percentage thing, but yeah, no,
Right.
it's pretty good. I like it.
But here's the weird part, man. Whether you had the disease, like me, whether you got the poke, like you did get the poke, right?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, right here.
The point is, in 2021, we're going back out into the world. And when you show up at the comedy club, at the music festival, at the whatever it is, you got somebody there saying, you got to wear a mask. And I know what you're thinking in your head. You're thinking, why would I wear a mask? I already got the poke. And it's like, you could be that guy having that argument 8 million times, or you could just accept the fact that everybody is judging you. Everybody is judging you right now, whether or not, you know what I saw the other day? I saw a dude walking around with a cloth mask with a logo from Chappelle's show on there. And I'm just like, dude, do you not know that cloth masks have like at best a 40% filtration rate? That's not real filtration. What you need is a surgical grade mask. And I was like, but the problem is it doesn't have a logo. So I made friends with people who make surgical grade masks, and we have a modern Rogue logo, branded, asymmetrical, bonkers design, something that nobody's going to want to copy, something that from across the room, 50 yards away, I'm going to see you and know that person is the person I want to go give a hug to. It's got the MR stamp on there. It's got one golden loop off to the side made from real stuff. Now, technically, the regular version of these are FDA listed, but I can't say that because we ruined it by swapping out the ear loop. So let me just say that these are made on the same production lines in the same facility where FDA listed devices are that are used by open heart surgeons and all that stuff.
So you're making medical equipment.
That would be your words. My words would be go to masks.scamstuff.com. Boy, that sounds totally legit, right? Masks.scamstuff.com. Grab yourself 50. These aren't your everyday masks. Yeah, they're your stepping out masks when you want to look good.
Looking good. Yeah. Check it out, folks. Also, don't forget, we are powered by Doghouse Systems, doghouse.com/v/rogue. You will help us justify why we're still using their equipment without paying for it. So go.
They ain't come for us yet.
Yeah. Doghouse Systems. We need you. Doghousessystems.com/v/rogue. Let's move on to the front lines.
Front lines.
Amazon got its first #1 on the Nielsen streaming chart for the week of March 1st through the 7th. Coming to the #2, America racked up 1.4 billion minutes of viewing, beating #2, Ginny and Georgia, the series from Netflix. Nielsen only measures Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus, and Hulu, so no HBO Max numbers in there. And it's only viewing on a TV set. This doesn't include mobile. Netflix's Criminal Minds finished 3rd, and WandaVision finished 4th.
And a stage play version of the Great Harrenhal Tournament, as mentioned in the Game of Thrones, will head to Broadway in the West End. It's the tournament that caused Prince Rhaegar Targaryen to abduct Lyanna Stark. Martin provided a story outline, but otherwise is not involved in the day-to-day creation of the play. Ooh, that is very specific. That is so specific. It's so wild.
He has said he would never cover this on TV. But he never said he wouldn't do it on the stage, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I just want to know, do you think they'll do the thing where it's like, I saw Camelot once and they, rather than actually try to do, real-time stage combat, they did like a slow motion thing for the battle or whatever you think they're going to do.
Well, this is not a musical. I don't know if that makes any difference, though. Let's ask someone from New York. Iyaz Akhtar.
Yes. What is the question?
Are you going to go watch this?
No.
But it's right down the street on Broadway. You're not that far.
A lot of things are nearby. It doesn't mean I'm going to go there.
All right,
I'm not going to see this.
Everything's nearby. It's New York. What are you doing?
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Fair enough. Good answer. Netflix dominated the Screen Actors Guild's awards with The Queen's Gambit, Ozark, and The Crown taking half the TV award categories. Netflix also took 3 of 5 big movie categories between Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and The Trial of Chicago 7. And just since we're talking about it, Apple TV Plus took away one too. Best Comedy Actor for Jason Sudeikis and Ted Lasso. A lot of times the SAG-AFTRA awards are seen as a bit of a precursor to the Oscars. It's one of those signals of what might happen in the Oscars.
Yeah. April 17th, 2011, Game of Thrones debuted on HBO to celebrate the 10-year so-called Iron Anniversary. I don't know who came up with that because that means somebody got murdered. HBO is running a bunch of promotions. There will be curated collections of episodes, a marathon on the linear channel HBO 2, and more. They have 150 behind-the-scenes videos. You did 2 laps on this, right? Right, Tom?
I guess I did. I certainly did 2 laps on the first 5 seasons, I think, before season 6. And I kind of watched most of the other seasons episodes twice. I'm not at all interested in rewatching it. I'll tell you that.
Oh, God, I feel sorry. I was trying really hard. What you felt was the tension of me wanting to back Tom's play and the relaxation of realizing I don't have to.
Yeah. Also, HBO calling it the Iron Anniversary. Does that mean it kills HBO? Is that it?
I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, do they not even know what the iron price is?
And the 10-year is tin. It's not even iron. That's the 6-year anniversary.
That's true.
Maybe they'll be offering a new subscription price where you can either pay $14.99 a month for HBO Max or
pay the
iron
iron price. Yeah, no, you could challenge somebody to. They have a new show called "To the Death."
Take my subscription. Iyaz, do you subscribe? Just totally unrelated. Do you subscribe to HBO Max?
Yes, I do. And I won't be watching this either.
I mean, you should just, defend yourself if anyone tries to pay the iron price for HBO Max. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not sure where to go with this. The iron price is
He
right.
doesn't know what that means, Tom.
Yeah, he doesn't watch it.
not
The iron
that
price
guy.
means you killed someone and took their stuff.
Yeah.
Have you killed anyone and taken their subscriptions?
Not recently.
Okay.
All right. Apologies for that. I think you'll be fine. Let's move on to the dispatches from the front. Michael from Texas says, I don't mean to get on a rant here, but I'm already jaded. I've never cared much about social confirmation. As long as the show I like keeps going, ID gaff, LOL. Bryce did hit on something I agree with, though. At some point, it is likely a lot of these services will be giving out their numbers. So just get on with it. My thinking, says Michael, is that one or more of these services will start beating their chests about how many millions of views per week their shows are getting. And at that point, someone else will get into the measuring contest, and that'll probably end a lot of the we're not telling anyone how many views our shows get. But that's my opinion, and I could be wrong. Later, Michael from Texas.
Okay, let me reenact that animated GIF of the little girl who puts her hands out and says, "Why not both?" Bryce, you're 100% correct. Just give up the numbers. It's going to happen eventually. Just skip to that part. Also, my point as I was trying to make it is those numbers are valuable. You don't just give them away for free. Come on.
Also, I don't think TV networks ever give out numbers. You just get numbers from Nielsen. So I still think that's just that's what's going to happen. Whether it's Nielsen or somebody else, we're just going to get third-party numbers because nobody trusts the numbers coming from the source anyway, because they probably massage them.
Agreed.
They did have the Disney Plus announcement, like I think the Falcon and the Winter Soldier had the most views of anything on Disney Plus since whatever, but like they don't say the number. So yeah, I think the beating of the chest has begun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you're
Chests
going
are
to see
getting
increasingly creative ways to beat chests. Sean writes in saying, "Hello all. I'm catching up on past episodes, and you had a discussion on closed captioning. I have a different closed captioning issue. My default CC is pure white. This means that my OLED television puts it at maximum brightness. I have to pick an off-white color to not assault my eyes, and then I have a hard time seeing them on a non-HDR TV. Someone needs to hook CC up to HDR10 or Dolby Vision properly." Oh my goodness. Tom, 10, 12 years ago, if we wrote a list of what we hoped our biggest problems would be, this would have been like top 5. I couldn't be happier.
And Sean can pick his color. He even says he can pick the color.
No, he even says that, but he has to, and he doesn't want to.
You gotta go yellow.
It's great.
Right? You gotta go
like a lime green,
yellow.
like a really
serifs,
fluorescent
non-serifs.
green.
Oh.
No serifs.
No serifs, yeah.
Yeah.
Serifs or no serifs?
It's got to
Serifs
be
because everyone thinks my name is Layaz otherwise.
Oh.
Fair. Okay. I got
There
you.
you
I looked it up too. Contrast, play with the contrast. That can help if you want to keep the white color. But yeah, could be worse. Thank you, Sean, for that. And thank you, Iyaz Akhtar, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. Check me out on Twitter, twitter.com/Iyaz, IYAZ, youtube.com/CNET. I got a ton of cool videos. Did you find out this video I did called how Google got so huge? Did you know that the founders wanted to hire Steve Jobs as their CEO? And they had to be talked out of it? At the time, Jobs happened to be the CEO of Pixar and Apple at the time. They're like, yeah, we should get him too. So some crazy stuff happened to make sure that this company got gigantic. Really proud of that video. Really wish you guys would watch it.
Was Jobs down for the possibility, or?
Well, he actually did entertain an interview with them. So they met up, and they also met with Jeff Bezos. They met up with a number of people. Andy Grove from Intel. Andy Grove, excuse me. So there's a lot of interesting people before they got to Eric Schmidt.
You know, interestingly, yesterday, April 4th, Larry Page became CEO of Google in 2011. So timely content, folks. You don't want to miss it. Go check it out. Good stuff, man. Well done. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We are live on twitch.tv/Night Attack, also carried on diamondclub.tv, Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk to you next time.
Hey, Tom Merritt.
Yes, Brian Brushwood.
Know who I love even more than my own children?
Your other children?
No, not my wife. I know what you're saying. I love our $5 patrons. These are the people that keep us loud, live, and independent. Thank you so much, $5 patrons.
You know what? I love them more than not life itself, because then I'd be dead and I couldn't appreciate them, but really, really, really close. And I'm so thankful that they are here to make this show happen.
Thank you so much to all of our $5 a month patrons. You guys are wizards. You're champions.
Thank you, everyone.
You're heroes.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.